On the next episode of Shannon Ayers Speaks,
we want to welcome Tichina Arnold to Hello Beautiful.
When God gives you something, what do you do with it? And I've always kept that in my mind. You know, I never want my gift to be taken away. Sure. God be the glory. To God be the glory. To God be the glory for the things he has done. When Martin Lawrence rolls, you got to roll with him. You got to be ready. You got to stay on it. Be wherever he rolls, like he'll take that script and throw that script somewhere. Like what happened to the script? Oh yeah, Martin threw it. He said something. Create markers for yourself so that you know that you are growing. You have to create whatever that marker is. Live in the now. What is the now? Who are you as a woman, as a man now? What have you come through? What have you learned? You have to check yourself before you check everybody else.
How would Tichina Arnold, the mother, the daughter, the once wife, the woman, the friend, how does she define self-love? We want to welcome Tichina Arnold to Hello Beautiful. I am so honored and elated to have your beautiful face in front of me. Thank you and welcome.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it, Shannon. How are you?
I am doing wonderful. I'm so glad that we all made it into the new year. Thank the Lord, given all the craziness that we have going on in the world. So I especially count this an honor because I know you are a busy lady these days. What do you have going on?
Oh, well, everything outside of being a mom, you know, nothing is more important than that. I mean, just, you know, staying afloat and just continuing to do my life's work as an entertainer, continuing to try to put a little laughter in people's hearts and a smile on people's faces and, you know, just moving forward, pressing forward without hurting anybody else in the process.
I know that's right. I mean, first of all, you're still looking young and still looking as beautiful as ever. But you've been around for a minute. You don't look like it, but you've been around for a minute.
I've been around. I've been around. I've been in these streets, and I've been in these streets.
Tell me about the streets when Tichina Arnold first jumped in on the scene.
Oh, wow. Well, you know, I started off at the age of 3 in church. You know, at the age of 3 in church, I told my mom I wanted to sing. I was like, Mom, I want to sing. And, you know, they put me on this little brown table that the church still has to this day. And they put that mic in my hand and I sang If I Had a Hammer. And from that moment on, to look out in the congregation and to look at all of these people, you know, who are paying attention to me. At that very moment, I was just like, wow, I remember that moment. And that was at the age of 3. Wow. So by the time I became 11, I was just like all in, you know, I'm like, I want to perform. I want to be on stage. I want to sing. I want to dance. I want to act. I want to do it all. So my daughter has turned into me. So now I'm dealing with a little me. And life is happening all over again. So I'm blessed. I'm definitely blessed.
Oh, look, I have 3 girls. Trust me.
Woo!
Yes. God had a sense of humor.
Got 3 of them? God bless you, Shannon.
Yes. God had a sense of humor. He did. He had a sense of humor, and I was up for the challenge, and I'm still here to tell about it.
Yeah, you're still here. You're still here.
Yeah. Well, you know, and you know how you mentioned, you know, kind of like starting all over again. When you look at your daughter, and her name is Elijah, is that correct?
Elijah, yeah.
Elijah. So when you look at Elijah, what do you think about when you think about, because I know like with my girls, at each stage of their life, I was always reminded of where I was at that time. How is that for you now as a mom, like you said, reliving that through Elijah, thinking about where your mindset was, like at the age of 3 or the age of 5 or the age of 11, when you were just ready to just burst out.
Well, I don't think about it until she displays it. Until she displays it. Like I see a lot of my attributes. I see a lot of my, sister's attributes in her. She's a little bit of everybody, but the type of person and human being that she is, God has definitely blessed me, because I tell people every day, motherhood is the most humbling experience I've ever dealt with in my whole entire life.
Yeah, again.
It's, because you're no longer embarrassed. There are things that like everything else goes out the window, and it's God, and then it's motherhood. Yes. And then it's everything else. And that's where I placed it in my life. So I try to massage it. I try to pay attention to it. I try to culminate it, cultivate it. I try to make sure that I give it everything that it needs, so everybody can win. And having a teenager is not easy, but she's learning. And I'm seeing the results of my family and the prayers of my family and the prayers of my village, and her being raised in a village. I'm seeing the results of it. So I'm very happy about that. But on the same side, on the other side, she's still becoming she's her own person. Sure. And I have to allow that to happen as a mother, which is not easy. No. So motherhood, every second is something different. Every day it's something different. Every month is something different. But I am determined to raise a good human being. And that's my mission as a mother, to make sure that I raise a good human being. Like we as mothers, and you have 3 of them. So I'm sure your attention and your time and your care and all of that has to be spread amongst 3 young women. And you got another one? Girl, I can't talk to you. We ain't got nothing in common, girl.
Listen. Now, I can always send them over to your house so that we can catch up and be on the same. Hey, listen, I'll do that for you, because that's who I am. I will grant you that privilege of taking my kids. How about that?
See, and that's the problem. It's like I always get everybody else's kids because I only have one. So I have to deal with this all the time. The kids are always at my house. So I don't rule with the iron fist, but I rule what I say goes. I'm the queen of my castle. And what I say goes to my castle. And if you have a problem with it, that's your problem.
Okay, they're on their way.
And they'll love it. But I try to make sure that we got to be examples for these kids. These young people are up against a lot of different things that we weren't up against as at their age. So I try not to compare myself, to answer your question. I try not to compare myself to Elijah at being her age, because when I was her age, it was a completely different story, completely different, backdrop as far as life is concerned. So I try to understand the time and the temperature that she's living in, because everything is social media and stuff. So I just try to have a lot of balance. I try to have where you give them enough room to be able to grow, but you contain that space enough so that you can give them what you need to give them in order for them to be able to survive.
Absolutely.
So, you just got to do the best that you can.
Oh, yeah.
I wish motherhood came with the manual, but it doesn't.
Who you telling? I'm still looking. My oldest is 20 and I'm still looking.
So what is the break? What's the breakdown? Like 20?
My oldest is 20. My second daughter, she'll be 19 this month. Then my son, he'll be 16 in March. And then my baby girl, she'll be 14 this year.
Okay, so you got a little moment in time where you were just kind of knocking them out, huh? Woo, girl.
A little busy, just a little bit.
You busy.
But see, now they can clean my house. They can go to the grocery store. They can do all that stuff. It's their payback time. Listen,
I love it.
if I had kids, go on, handle up and keep it moving.
You got your tribe. And and that's always it's a wonderful thing. And you know, being a single mom, I never planned on being a single mom, but one of my friends a long time ago told me, she said, you know, Tichina, you decided to have a career first. And now at 35, you're a mom. And so I kind of tried to I tried to prepare myself for being an older woman, having a baby, you know, by myself, you know, without, you know, a partner, without anybody to help me raise her literally in the house. So I relied upon my village. So I know I would not be anywhere if it weren't for my mom and my sister and people who were just my aunt, people and my grandmother, people who are in my village that really, really helped me, because you cannot do it by yourself. You can't do motherhood by yourself. I know women like to say, oh, well, I did that. Yeah, you didn't do it by yourself. No. You had help from somebody, whether or not it was from the government, whether or not it was from, you had help from, it's almost impossible to raise a child.
And I'm so glad you said that, because, you know, as women, we take on a lot, you know, and I have a husband who's very hands-on, who's been very, and it was still hard.
Yeah.
It was still hard. I'm the second to the oldest of 11, and my mom raised us as a single mom, you know, so I know both sides of the coin, and either way, it's hard. You know, my mom did a lot of great things. She worked 2 and 3 jobs, but she still had help. Yeah. She still had help, whether it was my aunt, whether, you know, it was people in the neighborhood. Because, you know, back in the day that, you know, when we had a real neighborhood, you know, that was your village.
I was raised in one of those neighborhoods. Yeah. I couldn't go past Miss Matthews' house, and I couldn't go past Miss Norma's house. Like that was my perimeter of life. So, and we have, my daughter has those same boundaries. Those boundaries are like a lot further geographically, but spiritually and physically, I want to make sure that she has everything that I was afforded to. And that is, you know, having wonderful people to help, you know, tell you when you're doing wrong, and wonderful people to you know, admonish you when you should be. You know, and she has that. So I'm seeing a little bit results of it, but she's still a teen and she still thinks she's smarter than me. So
they all do.
Keep us in your prayers.
Oh, we laugh at our kids all the time. They all think that they know so much until they need us, and that's what we're here. It's like, okay, we'll be back. It's okay. It's all right. Exactly. You know, exactly. And I think that's awesome. And I've seen a lot of the videos with you and your daughter, and the relationship is obviously there. And I mean, looking at that, especially being a single mom, and not only being a single mom, but being a single mom in Hollywood, you know, I look at, you know, the kind of standard that Michelle Obama, you know, looking at her and her mom and what they set for their kids, you know, and like you said, having a village, having people around you, that because you can't have eyes all the time.
No. And that's the humbling part about motherhood. And I told my daughter, I said, Elijah, I would love to be able to, you know, be a mommy with you at all times, but I can't. And I have to humble myself to trust that whatever I instill in you, that you'll remember it when you need to.
Yes. Because
it's for your own survival. It's for your own good. I'm not your enemy. I'm the only thing you got. So, you know, but they're teens, they're kids, and they're going to want to do, and they want to do what they want to do, but within parameters. And I still have help being a mom. Like my mom still admonishes me about my daughter. So, I mean, it's a never ending cycle. My mother harasses me about my daughter, harasses me. And I'm 51. And I still get harassed by my mom.
Wait, you're what? You said 21? What was that? I'm sorry. But you know what? To be able to say that and still smile about it, that's a beautiful thing.
Yes,
that's a beautiful thing. But tell me about young Tichina. how was young Tichina in terms of self-esteem or how you felt about you? What did young Tichina see when she looked in the mirror?
Oh my God. I looked in the mirror and I said, oh man, I wish I didn't have crooked teeth. But other than that, I loved everything about myself because I never looked at myself and judged myself in a way where I was judging myself on what other people thought. I looked at myself and said, God, there's so much that I need to do. That's the only thing I was like, there's so much that I need to do. And it became my ministry. You know, I at the age of 3, when I sang in church for the first time, that became my ministry. And I remember, you know, years ago, we had a visiting preacher come into the church, and he was, you know, he made the whole church stand up and point fingers at me. And he said, everybody pointed to Sheena. I'm like, oh Lord, what's happening? And he said, y'all leave her alone. She's going to minister to millions. And I start crying because I said, I don't want to be a preacher. I don't want to be. And I was like, oh no. That's what I equated it. It didn't hit me until I was sitting there, and I don't watch myself at all, but either Everybody Hates Chris or Martin, something came on that I was in. And I said, that's what he meant about ministering to millions. It was just entertainment. And so entertainment I've taken on as my ministry because it makes me feel good when I can make others feel good. I don't have a problem being of service. And that is my service. That is my ministry, is to entertain as best as I can. And, you know, some people may like it, some people may not, but I have to make sure that I do what God has called me to do. And this has been it. And I've been a survivor. I don't think of myself as a star or anything like that. I'm a surviving actor. I've survived a lot of, 40 years in the business. I'm a survivor, and there's a reason for that. And I thank God for it. So, and I take that responsibility very seriously.
Well, I can tell you one of the reasons why I really wanted to sit down and talk with you. Sometimes when we see people on TV and we think we know their journey, and we know what's reported, we know the interviews, and we know those things, but really getting to know the person. The interesting thing that I found about you, watching a lot of your interviews and different, is you're the same way all the time. I get it. Your job is to entertain people and to make people laugh and so on and so forth. But there's a certain genuineness, if I will, about you. I guess just in terms of, it's like you're on all the time. And what I mean by on all the time, not necessarily performing, but this is who I am. So when I look at, kind of where you started and where you are now, what do you think is attributed to who you are as a whole individual? Okay, mom, daughter, just Tichina, actress, and so comedian, singer, all of those. What would you attribute to your personality, who you are as a whole?
I would ask, I've been told that before, and thank you. And I always answer that question with the question, who else am I supposed to be?
And that's a perfect answer.
Who else am I supposed to be? So, and I think it definitely comes from being in show business at an early age. Mm-hmm. I started at an early age, so I wasn't an adult yet. So I was still growing. Mm-hmm. So I grew up literally in the industry. I grew up in church. I grew up in my neighborhood. So all of these things, I think, attribute to who I am, because there were things that I still use to this day. So I never had the yearning to be anybody else, even watching, people who inspired me, like Carol Burnett inspired me to just want to do comedy. Flip Wilson inspired me to want to perform and like literally like so I had all of these, Tremaine Hawkins and Gladys Knight and all of these amazing artists who I watched all my life and who I looked up to in a sense where I looked up to them because they were emanating what I wanted to emanate.
Sure.
And so where do I place that? I take on the responsibility as a responsibility because it is. When God gives you something, what do you do with it? And I've always kept that in my mind. I never want my gift to be taken away.
Sure.
Because I don't use it. So we all have to use our gifts as best as we can. And I think it starts with realizing that it's a gift. And once you realize that it's a gift, then you place it a little differently. But if you're in show business trying to work and you're trying to be a star and you're trying to do, for whatever reason, you're trying to do what you want to do, understand why you're doing it. And because I started as a kid, there was no reason why. It was, this is it. This is what I feel. This is what I want to do. And at the age of 12, my mother, she told me, she says, look, I can't miss another day of work taking you on your auditions. She said, do you really want to do this? And I said, yes, I want to do it. And she showed me how to take the train at age 12. So by the time I was 12, I was a latchkey kid because my mom had to go to work. Like that's when, the economics changed. And, my dad was the breadwinner, but then, my mom had to get a job. So then no parents are in the house. So me and my sister, I go on my auditions. She give me $5 for a can. $5 would handle 4 cans of soda, and 4 slices of pizza, 3 trains and a bus that we had to take back and forth.
That was back in the day.
$5 took care of it all. So, but I really wanted it. I wanted it. It being to entertain, it being able to meet people and be around people and absorb and literally make people laugh, make people smile, make people pay attention, force people to pay attention to me. So those were all of these things that attributed to me wanting to continue in show business.
Well, I tell you what, your comedic timing is insane. I mean, really. So when Martin first came out, everybody was watching Martin. I'm like, but Martin is just one of those shows where you watch one episode, okay, you know what, maybe I'll just watch one more. Then after that, one more. Then before that, you just the brilliance. I mean, of course, we know Martin is just Martin. The brilliance. I'd love to sit down and chat with him. I mean, his brilliance and what he brought to the industry is just incredible. But for you to be there, I mean, it's almost kind of like this brother and sister kind of, going at it. And I know half that stuff y'all was saying wasn't in the script. I know it wasn't in the script.
Most of it. Most of it. When Martin Lawrence rolls, you got to roll with him. You got to be ready. You got to stay on it. Be whatever he rolls. Like he'll take that script and throw that script somewhere. Like what happened to the script? Oh yeah, Martin threw it. He's somewhere over there. But that's what it is. That's what life is.
Martin,
never know what's gonna happen.
Did you ever stop for a moment and say, wow, I'm here? What was it, knowing where you started and even getting to that point and understanding what Martin did for our community, as far as seeing people that look like us, being successful and really having a huge impact. Because I'm all about imagery, and all about, what we see and what our kids see as far as what we can do and what we're capable of doing. Did you ever, during that time, especially since Martin was so popular, did you ever stop and say, wow, I'm here?
No, not during Martin days. No, during Martin days, I was just like, I was just chiming it out. just knocking it out. During the Martin days, like we didn't even know what we had back there. All we knew, we came to work and we would laugh. We would make each other laugh. We'd make the crew laugh. I came to work to laugh every day. And originally I didn't want to book Martin. I wanted to book Martin. I was like up for 2 other shows. But when I booked Martin, I was like, oh, okay, this is cool. But a lot of people don't realize I was 7 out of 13 episodes when I did Martin. So I wasn't in all of the episodes. So I wasn't a full-time, basically a full-time cast member. So I wasn't.
That speaks a lot. That says a lot because it happens all the time. When I interviewed Yvette Nicole Brown, my son, she was absolutely awesome. And my son was like, oh, I like her. She's like a bright light. She's one of those people that you see her 1 or 2 times and then you want to see more of her. You just want to keep seeing her, and she's all over the place, and so when I think about you, and like you said, you weren't initially, but you are one of those kind of forces of nature that just says, you know what, you may not think you're saying it at the time, but it's like, you know what, I'm here and I'm making my mark. My presence is felt in the atmosphere. Where does that come from?
The stage, the theater. It comes from the theater. It's like my mom used to tell me all the time. She said, I don't care if you have 2 lines. You better do those 2 lines as good as you can.
Yes.
Because it makes sense. You work with the tools that you have. And I knew that I wasn't a part of the cast contractually the same way that everybody else was. And Martin used to joke about it. He used to call me the unhappy cast member. He said, oh, look at the unhappy cast member. And he just he put that title on me, but I thought it was funny because I said, oh, well, I thought I was, doing a good job at like kind of, let me get in. And then, because at the end of the night, like when we would record, we would get our scripts. They would hand out yellow envelopes. Mm-hmm. And I would not get a yellow envelope every night. So it kind of made it separate. It could have been a separation, but I didn't allow it to be a separation for me and the cast because I knew whenever I did work, I needed to be in sync with everybody. I needed to make sure, and that comes from the stage. It just, you work with the tools that you have.
That's a huge point though that you're making, because as you're talking, the scripture that comes to mind is despise not small beginnings, and also appreciating what you have and taking that moment for what it is. What you said just now, we find ourselves in places all the time where, what, my part isn't as big as this part, my role isn't big, I don't have this title. I say all the time, you make it what it's supposed to be. I tell my kids, I don't care if your job is sweeping the floor. This is the best step floor you ever had. And so I wanted to just kind of, thumbnail that point, because what you're saying, I mean, really looking at your career now, if you had any other mindset, you probably would not be here right now.
Not at all. Not at all. You have to be a team player. You have to be a team player. You got to be ready to go on. I like with actors, it's like as an actor, if you are the lead, I was a lead in a Chitlin Circuit play that I did years ago. And I told my understudy, I said, well, if it's up to me, you're never going to work. I said, because where I come from, if they got to call you to work, that means I'm not doing my job. Right. Or I'm bleeding or I'm dead. I said, that's the only way you're going to get on this stage. I said, but that is no disrespect to you. I would expect you to do the same thing. So when you are on, be ready. And I told the understudy, I said, if it's up to me, you'll never have to go on, but there may be a time where you do. And it just so happened I got pregnant while I was on tour. So yeah, they had to go on. But you have to create markers for yourself so that you know that you are growing. You have to create whatever that marker is. Nobody else even has to know about it, but you have to challenge yourself to be your better self. And a lot of us, when we're coming up or we're certain ages, we don't know who we are yet. I know who I am. I learned who I was at an early age because of what has been instilled in me. You know, I grew up, Kojic. So my family staunch Christians, but Christianity did help me because it helped me to preserve my spirituality. It helped me to learn how to deal with my spirituality, and how to share my spirituality and how to spread my spirituality out to people who need it. And that comes through entertainment. I equate the two as the same. You know, my career and my spirituality is the same. My career, my being able to perform is what keeps me alive. And if I'm happy, I'm able to make you happy. So I always want to be able to do what I love doing. And entertaining is what I've loved doing literally since the age of 3. And that's why I put it in high regard.
No, I think that is beautiful, which is, again, the reason why I like to do this and the reason why I like to talk to people like you, because it humanizes you and it shows people that you're no different than anybody else. But what makes you stand apart is how you choose to look at life, perspective. When you put it in the right perspective, that determines your destination. And so you did that by putting it in perspective. Even with what you told that understudy, prayerfully for her, she appreciated it, because what that told her is that you need to be serious about what you're doing, and that, you know, while my job is to keep you out of work, you know, at least for right here, but still you but you'll have your time. And when you have your time, I tell my kids all the time, and I sing it almost every day, whatever you do, do it in excellence. I don't care what it is. Excellence does not mean perfection. What excellence means, that means doing the very best you can. And that's a difference between perfection. Doing if I'm giving you all I have and there's just no more to squeeze out of me, I can be proud of what I present. And that's what you exuded. And even with the
and that's another thing with young people. You have to, I tell my daughter all the time, don't compare yourself to somebody else. You know, it's okay to be inspired by people, but don't compare yourself. Once you start comparing yourself to somebody else, you're never going to be enough.
Absolutely.
Why start at a deficit? Start on top. Start with who you are. Now, how do we enhance who you are? How do you make the better you? How are you able to serve if you can't serve yourself? So you know, it's just you start at a place where it's genuine. You start at a place that is honest. Yeah. And when you start on those levels, life will be a lot easier because you're not trying to be something or somebody you are not. And that I've never played that game, ever. Never.
And I'm so glad, because you see it when I look at Hollywood, even when I look at us in Hollywood, you know, I'm starting to see a different us in some, because you can tell the difference between someone who's trying to keep up with everybody else as opposed to being true. And whatever your truth is, I mean, and your truth could be something that just so happened to mirror something of somebody else. That's different than setting somebody else as your standard. When you set other people as your standard, then guess what? It stops where they stop. You know, you don't go any further than that. And then you're always trying to live up to something that you don't even know what they're going through. You know,
I always say stars fall. Who wants to be a star? Stars fall. Yeah. Who wants to be a star? You want to leave a legacy. I want to leave a legacy of good work. And so I have to enjoy what I do. And the day that I don't enjoy what I do anymore, I will retire. But I'm not in that industry to want to retire. I'm in an industry where I should be able to work till I'm 85. I should be able to work till I'm dead. You know what I mean? I should be able to always be able to do something. And if you look at life like that, if you look at life where you have, everybody has something to give. Everybody has something to give.
Yes.
On whatever level it is, you always have something to give.
No, I think that's beautiful. And, you know, while we know you through your acting, you also sing, or as we say, we know you can blow.
Oh, Lord.
I'm going to tell you, for my wedding, my aunt sang one of my favorite songs that you had the nerve and the audacity to sing on several occasions. To God
What?
be the glory.
Oh, can I tell you, To God Be the Glory was the one song I sang throughout the church circuit. Literally between To God Be the Glory and Wind Beneath My Wings, my mother said, if you don't stop singing those songs and pick another song to sing. But To God Be the Glory. I mean, the title in itself,
I'm sorry, how does it go? I can't remember the words. How does it go? How does it go? Can you remind me?
To God be the glory. To God be the glory. To God be the glory for the things he has done.
Come on.
That's all you did. You got to pay for that.
Listen, I got some coins. Come on. Just a little bit.
I used to sing To God Be the Glory. And like, I used to have to, speak at different events. And it's the one song that literally kind of covers everything for me, because who else should get the glory but God? Who else should get the glory but God? So it's not about any of us. It's not about any of us at all. We are vessels.
When I first heard you sing it, I'm like, really? Did she really go there? Did she really go? That song, which is why I wanted it sung for my wedding, that song, just like you said, it embodies so much. And you don't just sing it. There's a difference. There's a difference. I mean, you can sing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, and it'll still be something behind that.
Well, because it's where it comes from, and the behind that is where it comes from. And there's been many nights where we have to minister to ourselves. We have to pray ourselves through certain things. We have to talk to God and see God for ourselves. And that song, like you said, embodies all of that for me. And there's a lot of other songs that I do love, but in terms of interpreting what I feel and being, having other people understand it without taking them to church or, without Xing out people who don't believe in God, that song to me it's a good ministry song. It just ministers without doing too much.
No, that's beautiful. I thank you for that. That made my no, that was awesome. And it takes me to our recurring theme that we have, that we're starting, you're actually starting off my new season. So you just really
congratulations.
Thank you so much. Our theme this season is defining self-love. How would Tichina Arnold, the mother, the daughter, the once wife, the woman, the friend, how does she define self-love?
Wow, that's a good question. Because so many times people say love is love, but what is love to you? And I would say defining my self-love is literally putting God first. I mean, when it's not about you, then when it's not about you, it's about what you can give. It's about, like I told you, I'm in the business of service, and I love who I am. I love my family. I love my daughter. There are things that I love, but I do love myself. Now, there are times that I don't take care of myself as I should because of the things that I do for others. So there is that balance as well. But my definition of love is putting something ahead of who I am. I would not be who I am if it were not for my faith, if it were not for the prayers of other people. So it's never about you. And when you realize that it's not about you and what you could do for other people, then it makes it packages your love in a different way. And self-love is the love, being able to love everybody, being able to just love. And there have been times where I have not loved myself. I have not loved my actions. Let's just say that. I didn't love my responses or my replies, or, you know, so there are things that I, you know, could change, but as long as I keep that line of communication open with the higher power, then I'm able to get the answers that I need in order to help me help other people along the way.
No, that's awesome. And then that's why I chose that particular thing, because we're in a time, especially, you know, coming through a pandemic. If last year didn't do anything, it especially for those of us, which was most of the country, was stuck at home, you know, where there was a lot of times you couldn't go out, or you couldn't interact, or you couldn't do a lot of different things. It kind of forced you, in a sense, to get to know who you are.
Most definitely. And a lot of people, you'll find that a lot of people don't want to do that. A lot of people, I was afraid of myself for a minute, because a lot, you know, I can't, like, I'm one of those people that don't like sleeping in quiet. I don't like silence, because it wakes me up. Like my aunt used to say, I can hear a mouse pee on cotton. She used to say that all the time. But I just didn't grow up with silence. And so being quarantined, and I tell, like, when quarantine first happened and everybody was just Zooming and doing all of these things and trying to figure it out. So, you know what, this is a good time to stop and reflect and regenerate, rejuvenate, you know, get to know your kids better, get to know yourself better, spend some more time with your dogs. I don't know, whatever it is that you need to do so that you can get through these times, because this time is not going to last forever. But when we get through this, how are you going to come out? Who are you going to be when we come out of these hard times? So I think it's all relative.
Was there an evolution for you coming out of 2020, coming into 2021? Like, do you find that there's something different about who you thought you were and who you know yourself to be now?
No, I'm still the same person. I am still the same person. Now, I have paid attention to certain things that I need to tweak, you know, my patience, and there's certain things that I need to tweak about myself. So when you are alone with yourself and you have to deal with yourself, yeah, there are things that you need to pay attention to. These are times that you need to pay attention to what you need to do. Because I told my daughter, I said, listen, I can't be I'll use this as an example. As a new mom and as a single mom, I was appalled when I saw, you know, well, put your gas mask, your face mask on first on the airline, put your face mask on first before you put it on your child. I was like, why would you do that? You're supposed to say, then I thought about, oh, wait, dummy, I can't save anybody else if I'm dead. I can't save anybody else if I don't save myself. So that's when I learned that I really have to pay attention to growing and being the best human being that I can be, so I can raise another human being the best that she can be, to be the best that she can be. I want to attain the things and retain the things that will allow me to survive in this industry, allow me to survive, period, so that I can still be of service. Like I told you, God is giving me what he's given me, what she's given me, and I want to be able to take that and use it to the best of my ability, and not for self, but for others, so that I can be rewarded. It's rewarding for me to to hear people say, oh my God, I was having such a bad day. And I saw you do something stupid. And I just like, so you never know what you do and what you bring to people. So that's why I posted videos of me and my daughter. It wasn't that I was trying to expose, like I don't expose my personal life like that. But I said, there are so many other single moms, single dads, grandmothers raising kids, auntie raising other people's kids. Like, you know how it goes. And I'm like, if my videos can help somebody else, and me and my daughter can help somebody else that's going through this, what we're going through, then it's worth it. And that's how I live my life. That's how I live my career.
Yeah, no, I think that's awesome. And that was one of the things that I told you that stuck out to me when seeing the videos with you and your daughter. And it's also why I wanted to talk to you as well, because I want to see other women in my Hello Beautiful audience. I want them to see themselves in you. And I want them to be able to see, you know what, as a single mom, I can still do it. As a single mom, yes, I may go through some stuff. Yes, I may have some hard times. Yes, some people may hurt me. Yes, some things just may not go the way I want it to go, but yet I'm still here. And and not only am I smiling, I'm making other people smile. It doesn't mean I don't go through anything.
Right.
I see. That's my takeaway, even from sitting here talking to you. I mean, the number one theme of everything that you've shared has been about serving others and about what you have to give to others, but also in that still having a sense of self that you can still serve yourself without guilt.
And that takes practice. That takes practice. It definitely takes practice. But, hopefully, when you grow and when people grow, you grow to the day you die. You learn to the day you die. There's nothing on this earth that you don't know. There's things we don't know everything. I'm 51 and there's so many things that I'm still learning. I'm still grasping. I'm being able to, oh, wow, that's why I went through that 20 years ago. So this is going to work. Me going through that 20 years ago is helping me right now today. So, it's just being able to balance it, because I love balance. I love balance, but being able to, when things are out of balance and when things are imbalanced, when things are chaotic, what do you do? When things are in disarray, what do you do? So you still have to be constant. And the only constant thing is the love of God. And that's what's constant. And that's what I hold dear to me. And that's how I'm going to base everything upon that. Because it has sustained me to be able to be sitting here 51 years later and telling you how happy I'm happy. I'm blessed. I've had my challenges. I've had my trials, tribulations, and I'm sure there will be more. But I'm still able to sit here and have a testimony. And for that, I'm forever grateful.
And that's awesome. I mean, you know how many friends, I mean, I'm 48 soon to be, I'm 40. How old am I? Lord, it all runs.
Ooh, that's them 4 kids, girl. That's them 4 kids. They make you forget how old you are.
I know, right? It all runs together. I think I'll be turning 48. I think
hilarious.
Go back and do some math. Even in this many years living, I have so many friends from childhood, even friends that I gained along the way that are kind of within that kind of 46 to 55 kind of age range. And some of them are single. And so what would you say to them being single as a mother, living day to day? What kind of encouragement or advice would you give to them that feel like, you know what, I'm all alone, my biological clock is ticking, society, blah, blah, blah. What would you share with them?
Never put that kind of pressure on yourself. That kind of pressure is not productive at all. But it's natural. It's okay. Like, it's natural to be surrounded by friends who got, everybody's booed up and you're not. Of course, you're gonna be like, well, damn, what about me? And if you go into the what ifs, and if you go into the, well, it could, or I could have, and all those woulda, shoulda, couldas, what is right now? What's happening right now? What can you do right now? Because see, a lot of times we don't check ourselves. We're single because of our pattern in the way we've treated our past relationships. That's why we're single. Wow. Or we've made choices and we all have to live with our choices in life. I'm living with a lot of choices that I've made. Don't put that pressure on yourself. I will tell your listeners and your followers, live in the now. What is the now? Who are you as a woman, as a man now? What have you come through? What have you learned? You have to check yourself before you check everybody else. Check yourself first. Oh, I just broke up. He did this. All right, okay, he did that. So what did you do? You have to check yourself in order to be able to make clear choices. And when you don't know what to do, I always say, don't do anything at all. Maybe you are living in this moment to be single because you need to be single. Maybe you're not getting pregnant because you don't need to have a baby right now. Maybe you ain't getting married, or he ain't proposing to you because he's not the one. We have to look beyond what it is that we see. Look beyond that, because there's so many more and so much more that beyond our grasp that we may not be able to see it right there. So I always like to use as an example, I try to remember choices that I wanted to make and I didn't make. And I'm like, oh, thank God I didn't make that choice, because my life would be different. So, reevaluate yourself. Don't be hard on yourself. Just evaluate yourself, because you are who you are. Now, are there things that you need to change about yourself? Be honest with yourself. You cannot be honest with anybody else until you're honest with yourself. Because people will give you they're not going to give you the whole story. They're going to give you their story.
Yes.
Right? So always evaluate yourself. Always evaluate who you are. Are you happy with who you are? If you're not happy with who you are, you're not going to find love. You're not going to be happy, because you can't even be happy with yourself. How the hell you going to make some man happy? How the hell you going to make a woman happy if you're not happy yourself? It's just, it starts within, it starts with you. And that's where you should try to do things to help yourself grow. Always think of yourself as a child. I think of myself as, that's why I keep my energy. I always think of myself as a big kid sometimes, because I want to still stay active. I still want to keep that brain going. I still want to keep my muscles going. I still want to stay active. I have a teenager. I'm 51 with a teenager. I got to stay active, whether or not I like it or not, So, but it starts within. And don't, a lot of women, and a lot of Black women, I think we're hard on ourselves, because this is it's cyclical. We come from broken homes, and then we end up in broken homes. And if you don't want that anymore, then you got to think back of what your mom did and with all the choices that other people made. Just think about it, because you are you. You're not your mother. You're not your dad. So there are things that are in your control that you can change, that you can fix, that you can tweak, that you can massage, that you can, get rid of. There's so much that you can do, but it starts with you. I mean, that's the best way that I could put it. It starts with you.
No, I mean, that's, and you hit the nail dead on the head. I mean, one of the things that I talked about when we did our Hello Beautiful conference back in 2019, the key word for me was introspection, looking within and like I said, checking the girl on the inside. I just did an interview with a friend of mine, Dr. Marisha Sherman, and, she was talking about being cute on the inside, outside. But you want your insides to be cute. And if they're not, then you need to ask yourself why. And then,
it's kind of like hairstyles.
Yes.
Like I used to name my weaves. I used to get weaves all the time. And so whenever I would get the weave, I would look at myself and like, oh, this is Shayna, or she's, Babette, or I would just name all my different weaves. But I noticed that every time I got a different weave, I would act differently. It would just change, change my walk a little bit, change how I talk a little bit. But it's still me. It's not the hair. The hair is bringing out all of these other sides of me. Mm-hmm. I'm already these people. I already have these attributes. And so it's just a matter of finding all of, because we're not monolithic. We're so many things. And so it's okay to be a lot. So within being a lot, whoever it is that you choose to be that day, but just be a good human. Be a good human being. Just do good, do right by people, be a good human. Don't, and don't lie, don't steal, don't cheat, because it's just, you got to pay for it. So nobody's perfect, but when you try to live right, and right is just doing right by others. Do right by others, you get it in return. And I mean, I always speak of others, because if I lived in this world by myself, then it wouldn't matter, but I don't. We live on this earth with other people and other human beings. So how can we get along? How can we check ourselves? How can we check each other? Because there, like I said, balance. There's checks and balances. And I always want to make sure that I'm balanced, but I have to be able to humble myself enough to know that when things are unbalanced, that's okay too. How do I get them balanced again without leaving disarray, without causing havoc and without ruining other people's lives? So everything starts with you. Everything starts with you.
No, I mean, that's, wow. I mean, that's wisdom. That's wisdom. That sounds like experience talking. And at the end of the day, if we don't check us, then we can be no good. Using that analogy that you used with, on the airline, and I'm sure everybody probably had that thought, at one point or another. But if you can't take care of you, then you're no good to anybody else.
No good. No good to anybody else if you can't take care of yourself. And a lot of us haven't learned. We blame our mothers, we blame our dads. Stop the blame game. I tell people all the time, you are an adult. So I don't give a damn what happened to you. You are now an adult. You're a grown person. You're going to either take what you've been through and use it for the good, or you're not.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and what more can you say? That's wisdom talking. I really appreciate that. I share that sometimes with some of my friends, but I think hearing it from someone like you, someone that, that they look up to or that they see on TV or hear, or, I think it means just a little bit more, because what it does is, again, it humanizes you, as talented as you are, as beautiful as you are, you still had human experiences, but it's all it's what you do with it. I made some bad choices. Okay, so now what do I do? Let me pick myself up and let me not do that again, because that hurt.
My mother used to tell me all the time, you don't want your booty to suck wind. That's what she called your booty suck a wind. I'm like, no, I don't want my booty to suck wind. So, it's like, but we're not always going to make the right choices, but we got to get through it. You got to get through it. You can't lay down and die. You got to get through it.
Wow. Well, I thank you. I thank you for sharing that. I thank you just really for sharing your wisdom and, just your nuggets of life. I mean, there was a whole host of things that I could have asked you about, but other people already asked you about that stuff. And so it's out there. But what
you want me to pontificate? I'll sit here and I'll pontificate.
Yeah.
No, life is about sharing. Information, good information is supposed to be free.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be free. If I could share my trials and my triumphs and my tribulations, by all means. If it's gonna help somebody, then it was worth it.
Thank you. It definitely is worth it for me. So I appreciate that. So tell us, what are you working on right now? We know the neighborhood is doing great things for you right now. What is Tichina Arnold doing right now?
Well, I am doing the neighborhood. I'm actually going back to work in a few days, and we got a few more episodes to go. So thank God we've been able to, still, work through a pandemic safely and soundly. And my sister and I, we started our company, Queens Light Productions. So we're gonna put out some content, and hopefully just continue to spread goodness within the entertainment industry.
No, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. No, I thank you for taking this time with me, because there could be a whole host of other things you could be doing right now on a Saturday.
Look, as soon as I get off, I'm about to clean my house. That's what I'm about to do. I just ordered food. I got ordered my little food. I'm about to eat my food and have a Saturday afternoon, probably watch a few ghost stories. I love watching ghost stories. And yeah, I'm gonna chill.
That sounds like a perfect Saturday to me.
Yes.
So what I do with all of my guests, we always round it up and end it with the word association.
Okay.
You ready?
I think.
Well, it'll be safe. It'll be safe. I think. I hope. I'll say a word, and then you just tell me the first thing that comes to your mind.
Okay.
You ready? Pescatarian.
Me. I'm a pescatarian.
Yeah.
I love
pescatarian.
Huh?
For those who don't know, what's a pescatarian?
Oh, a person who eats fish. The only meat that they eat is fish, but I consider, I found that out that I'm a flexitarian, because sometimes if I'm craving, there's such thing as a flexitarian. I've just bought a book on it, and I'm about to read this book about being a flexitarian, because I'm one of these people, I listen to my body, and a lot of times I get iron poor. So if I crave meat, I notice that I like certain meats, but I used to like lamb. I'm not liking lamb anymore. So I don't know, but I tried if I eat red meat, it's just like real, like it's always close to the bone. And I heard that that's actually the best meat, the meat that's closest to the bone. But I'm more of a pescatarian. I can eat fish every day.
Okay. Comedy.
Love.
Okay.
Comedy is love.
Okay. So the next word will be love.
God.
Okay. Dreams.
Fulfill. I don't know. That word just came to my brain. Fulfill.
Okay.
You said the first thing. I was like, okay.
Okay. Elijah.
Me. Lord.
Okay.
I got a mini me who's worse than me.
Zenay.
Just everything.
Diane.
Everything.
Tommy Ford.
Wise. Tommy was very wise.
Okay. Tisha.
Friend. Crazy nut. Friend, crazy nut. That's all three of those.
Okay. Martin.
Oh, comedic genius.
Okay. Chris Rock.
Hilarious.
Said.
My teddy bear.
Brother Man.
From the fifth floor.
Okay. Pam.
I hear that word all the time. So many people call me Pam. Like when I hear it, I hear nothing. Like it's just Pam. That's the first thing. Pam. Best I can do.
All right. And the most important one, Tichina.
Tichina. That's all I can be is Tichina. That's it. I know. I get this. I'm horrible at this game, but yeah, that's my first word. Tichina, Pam, Pam is, yeah, it is what it is.
No, this has been fun. It's definitely been enlightening. I appreciate you taking your time to sit down and share with my Hello Beautiful audience. I have no doubt that it will encourage, it will inspire, and it will motivate. So I just want to thank you so very much for taking this time with us. Tell us how we can find you.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, you can find me on all social media platforms under my name, Tichina Arnold, Tichina Arnold.
Awesome.
That's it.
I thank you. I pray you a happy weekend, that you'll enjoy this time. I pray you a continued happy life. And,
Thank you.
And I appreciate you and I applaud you for being selfless.
Okay.
I a lot of people in this industry that you can say that about, that you're, again, the whole thing that you've been talking about this whole time is what you can give to others. And even in this platform, even in this platform, once again, you're giving to others. So I pray that you be blessed and that you be inspired. And I pray you the best 2021 ever.
Thank you. Thank you, Shannon. I appreciate that. God bless you as well. Keep going, girl. Keep spreading the word.
Thank you.
No, that's wonderful. Yeah, that's wonderful that you give other women a platform and other people a platform to be able to express themselves. And that's what we need now more so than ever. So continued success to you as well. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
On the next episode of Shannon Ayers Speaks, we are excited to meet Ruben Studdard.